Alrighty, guys, I know that you are really excited that we are getting close to winding down. We just have two more sections that we're going to look at this year. This first one is section 10.4, and it is called Inscribed Angles. So we kind of talked about what inscribed angles were before. Remember that inscribed angles are angles with the vertex on the circle. Okay? So an inscribed angle is an angle with its vertex on the circle and with two sides that are chords. Okay, so if you look at this picture here in the picture, over here we've got this inscribed angle ABC. ABC, the vertex is B, it's on the circle, and AB, BC are both chords. Okay? An intercepted arc is the arc that lies between the endpoints of an inscribed angle. Okay, so in this case, the intercepted arc is arc AC. Okay, so here's the inscribed angle and the intercepted arc. Okay, so those are just vocabulary words there. Now, here's the theorem that we're going to use today. The degree of the inscribed angle is equal to half its intercepted arc. So let's look at this picture. That means that the angle ABC, is equal to 1/2 the measure of the intercepted arc. And we said the intercepted arc was arc AC. All right, now sometimes we have an inscribed angle that is intercepting a diameter. So here is the inscribed angle, and here is the diameter. Okay, so if an inscribed angle intercepts a diameter, then it is a right angle. Okay, so in this case, the measure of angle BAC is 90, right? Because if this is a diameter, then this arc here is 180, so half of that is 90. Now, if two inscribed angles intercept the same arc, then the angles are congruent. Okay, so we can see that here. See how this angle ABD and the angle ACD, they both intercept this same arc AD. That means ABD and ACD are congruent. All right, let's use that a little bit here, okay? All right, so we've got that the inscribed angle is half the intercepted arc. So I'm going to write that. Angle WXY is equal to half WY. So half of 62 is 31. Okay, here the angle is equal to half the intercepted arc, DGF. So if I want to undo half, I'm going to multiply this side by 2 and this side by 2. So I get 226. Okay, so this time the first one here I was given the arc, so I took half of that. But this second time I was given the angle, so I had to multiply the angle by 2 to get the arc. And in this picture, here we have this diameter PR, so that we know this angle PQR is equal to 90. All right, so then we get a little bit harder here. Okay, so here we're looking for arc BC, but we'll start with this information here. Here we have 47. 47 is half of this arc. Okay, so I'm going to actually do 47 times 2, and that's going to be 94. So this AC here is 94. So if I want to find the arc of BC, I'm going to take 180 minus 94 because this ACB is a semicircle. I know that because this is a diameter, it goes to the center. Okay, so 180 minus 94 is 86. Okay, so for number 5, here we're looking at this whole circle. We're trying to find this angle right here. But before we can do that, let's figure out what this huge arc is right here. Okay, now if I know the whole circle is 360, whoa, I need to work on my handwriting. So 360 minus 53 minus 65. When I do that in my calculator, I get that this is 242. So I know that this angle is half of 242. That's 121. All right. So now on number 6, we're trying to find RST and RUT. Now if you notice, RST and RUT both have the same intercepted arc. That arc is RT. So these are actually going to be congruent angles. So how could I find RT? Again, I could take 360, subtract out 64, subtract out 75, subtract out the 139. Okay, when I do that in my calculator, I find that RT is 82. Okay, and I know that each of those is half of 82. Each of those is an inscribed angle, so these are both 41 degrees. All right, number 7. Okay, we're using the information that the angle, and I'm just going to write it like this. The angle equals half the arc. It's just easier to write that way. So in this picture, what goes in place of the angle? Okay, well the angle is 8x minus 9. So in place of angle, I'm going to write 8x minus 9. In place of arc, I'm going to write 158 because this is the inscribed angle and it opens up to the 158. And then we're going to solve that. So 8x minus 9 equals half of 158 is 79. So I add 9 to both sides. 8x equals 88. Divide by 8, x equals 11. Okay. Number 8 is very similar. Okay, we're going to start off angle equals half the arc. And this time, I want you to put in what the angle is, what the arc is. Solve for x yourself. Put that into your actively learn. Okay. For number 9, we see that this angle opens up to this diameter in a semicircle. So we know that this angle has to be 90. So I'm going to set up 13 minus 1 equals 90. So when I add 1 to both sides and divide by 13, I get x equals 7. Right, oh good. Number 10, we could use lots of stuff that we've learned this year in geometry. We have, we'll start with what we've learned new, that the angle is half the arc. Okay, so I know I'm trying to find x, which is like over here, but let's use this arc that we know. Okay, that's 78. Here's the inscribed angle. XYW is the inscribed angle that opens up to the 78. So I'm going to say that the angle is equal half of 78. So that angle is equal to 39. Okay, that's important. This is 39 right here. Because now I could figure out what this angle is knowing that how many degrees are there in a triangle? There are 180 degrees in a triangle. So if I subtract out the 114 and I subtract out the 39 that I just found, I get that this angle by W is 27. So I'm going to put my 7x plus 6 equal to 27 and solve that guy. 7x equals 21. X equals 3. All right, now For number 11, first thing I'm going to do is find the missing arc. Okay, to do that, I'm going to say that the whole circle adds up to 360. So 360 minus 92 minus 162. I'm going to do that first, and that's going to give me 106. So this arc here, AC, is 106. So now I'm going to use the new information I found for this section. Angle equals half the arc. Okay, so the angle is the 7x minus 10. Half the arc is 106. So this is 7x minus 10 equals 53. 7x equals 63. Divide by 7, x equals 9. All right, number 12 is very similar. Okay, we're needing to find the missing arc first. Okay, and then we'll use that the angle is half the arc. So try number 12 on your own and put it in the video. All right, let's see what we got here. Here we have that the angle FGH is 6x plus 21. And the arc FJH is 17x minus 28. Okay, so I'm still using this. Angle equals half the arc. Okay, so in place of the angle, I'm going to put 6x plus 21 equals 1/2. The arc is 17x minus 28. Okay, now we can do this in two ways. We can either distribute the 1/2 and get some decimals, just fine, or you could multiply both sides by 2 and not have decimals. So it's kind of up to you, but it doesn't matter. I'm probably just going to leave it like it is. 6x plus 21 equals half of 17 is 8.5x. Half of 28 is 14. So I'll subtract 6x. Get 21 equals 2.5x minus 14. Add 14. 35 equals 2.5x. And so when I divide by 2.5, I get x equals 14. I'm going to check that just to be sure. That is what my kids got my calculator thing on. Calculator. Ugh, okay, sorry. So 35 divided by 2.5, yes, 14. Very good. All right, so now, but don't forget, we always look back in geometry and see what we were looking for. We were looking for FJH. So now I'm going to put that in. 17 times 14 minus 28. And when I do that, I get 210 degrees. And we can see that in the picture, it's more than 180, so that makes sense. All right, let's do something similar on 14. We've got the inscribed angle is going to be half the intercepted arc. So the angle equals half the arc. So 5x minus 16 equals half of 12x minus 50. This one I won't get any decimals on. So subtract 5x from both sides. Get x, oops, just kidding. Negative 16 equals x minus 25. Add 25 to both sides. And I get 9. 9 equals x. Okay, so then this time I'm finding the angle. So I'm going to put that angle back into the 5x minus 16. 45 minus 16 is 29. All right, so here we have two angles that open up to the same arc. So let's see, we've got ABD and ACD. See how they both open up to this AD? So what I'm going to do is, I know already, since they open up to the same arc, I know that these angles have to be congruent. So I'm going to set these two expressions. Oh, I totally wrote something weird there. 6x plus 26 equals 13x minus 9. 26 equals 7x minus 9. Add 9 to both sides. 35 equals 7x. X equals 5. Okay, so x equals 5. And now I could find either of those angles. I know that the angles are equal, so I'm just going to probably pick that first one because it looks a little bit easier to me because there's no negatives. 6 times 5 is 30 plus 26 is 56. Okay, so these angles are both 56 degrees. Now we know that the angle is equal half the arc, and that's what we're finding here. We're finding the arc AD, okay? So I'm going to say that 56 equals half the measure of AD, and so I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. And so I'll get the measure of AD is equal to 112. Okay, this last one, I've got KJL, I'm going to label it in here, is 3x plus 2. And LKJ is 7x minus 32. Now, if you'll notice, this arc right here is at 180 because of this is a semicircle. Okay, so I know that this other angle in the triangle is 90. So the way that I'm going to solve this, I'm going to add all of these up to 90 like I did back in chapter, I don't know, when did we do triangles? Chapter 4 maybe, last semester. Okay, that's going to be 10x. 92 minus 32 is 60. I think it was 12. Now, what are we trying to find here? I'm trying to find this arc, KL. So I'm going to put this in here because I know that the angle is half the arc. So I'm going to do 3 times 12 plus 2. 36 plus 2 is 38. So remember, the angle is equal to half the arc. It's going to be 38 is equal to half of KL. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. And that'll give me 76 equals the measure of arc KL. All right, good work, guys. All right, now, one last topic here before we're done with this video is inscribed quadrilaterals. Woo, we're adding all these things together, aren't we? Okay, basically, an inscribed quadrilateral means a quadrilateral with all the vertices on the circle. So that means the quadrilateral is inscribed. Inscribed just means like inside the circle. So if a quadrilateral is inside in a circle, then its opposite angles are supplementary. Okay, we know that supplementary means adding up to 180, right? We've done that all year since chapter 1. So in this picture, the opposite angles are A and C and B and D. That means the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle C equals 180, and the measure of angle D plus the measure of angle B also equals 180. Okay, so we're going to use that little bit of information here to solve some problems, okay? Here, I know that K and M are going to add up to 180. So if I want to find K, I'm going to take 180 minus 45. That's going to be 135. And if I want to find J, I'm going to say that J and L are opposite, so they add up to 180. So to find J, I'm just going to take 180 minus 92, and that's 88. Okay. Number 2, we get a little trickier. We're going to add in some arcs here. Okay. For instance, I know that this okay, so let's find the missing arc, the thing I don't know. So here I have this arc, QP is 126. I have this arc is 90. So the rest, I could find the rest of it, which is a QS here. Okay, by taking 360 minus 90 minus 126. Okay, so if I do that in my calculator, means that this arc here is 144. Now I know that angle P is going to be half of 144 because this angle P here opens up to the 144. So half of 144 is 72. And I'm going to mark that in my picture. Okay. I also can say that angle R opens up to this big angle, or this big arc, I'm sorry, which 126 plus 90 is 216. So R is half of 216, which is 108. And then to find S, I'm going to take 180 minus 93, which is 87. Okay, these are kind of tricky. All right, I'm going to start on this picture here. I'm going to start with angle W. I think that's going to be my easiest one by saying that Y and W are supplementary. So I can do 180 minus 51, which is 129 for W. Okay, then for angle X, see how angle X opens up to this big arc right here? That arc, when I add 101 and 67, is going to be 168. So the angle is equal to half of 168. When I divide that by 2, I get 84. And then I know that X and V are supplementary because they're across from each other. So 180 minus 84 is 96. All right, so let's see. So we've got ACD opens up, so angle D here opens up to this arc. So those two arcs together add up to 100. So that means angle D here has to be 50. Okay, and I know that angle B and angle D are opposite each other, so they add up to 180. So 180 minus 50 is going to be 130 for B. Now let's look at angle A next. Angle A here opens up to this big arc, and this big arc is 61 plus 147. So I'm going to do that in my calculator. 61 plus 187 is 208. So this angle A, this angle is equal to half of 208, which is 104. Angle C and angle A are supplementary, so subtract from 180 to get C equal to 76. Whoosh! All right. For number 5, we know that opposite angles add to 180. So we're going to do that. 68 plus 9x minus 5 equals to 180. So 9x plus 63 equals 180. So I get x equals 13. Okay. Number 6 is just like it. I want you to try that on your own, please. All right. On number 7, we're going to use these arcs here. So I know that L and N are opposite. Okay, but I don't know N. And L has this expression. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out what this arc is, this 91 plus 135. That's 226, and I know that the angle is half of 226. So this angle N is 113. So that's what I'm going to add. I'm going to add that 15x minus 23 and the 113, and that's going to equal 180. It's going to be 15x plus 90 equals 180. So when I subtract 90, 15x equals 90. Divide by 15, we get x equals 6. Okay, very similar in number 8. I've got this angle H here, and angle H opens up to this 50 plus 96, which is 146. And half of that is 73. So this angle H is 73. So I'm going to say 12x minus 25 equals 73. Oh, just kidding. Plus 73 equals 180. 73 minus 25, 48. 12x equals 132, x equals 11. All right, one more. We've got angle W, we've got angle Y. These are opposites, so I know I'm going to add them up. Equal to 180. Add 36 to both sides. 18x equals 216. Divide by 18. X equals 12. Now, we're not done, right? Because it says find y. So we're going to just plug that in. 13 times 12 minus 37. The measure of angle y is 119. Very good, guys.